Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be doing my makeup and talking to you guys for a little bit. I've already done my eyebrows and my hair. To be honest with you, I don't really know what this makeup look is going to turn out like. I have an idea of what I want, but we'll see. But today I'm just going to be talking about a few things that have just been on my mind: music, movies, and art. Because there's nothing better than getting ready and talking to someone about those things. So to be honest with you, I think I'm not even gonna do my brow yet. I've been tempted to do a no brow makeup look for a really long time, so I'm going to start with my eyeshadow first and then do the brow later. You see, this video was going to be about Lana Del Rey's Sheen outfit, but I decided that there's not really much to say about it. At least there's not enough to say about it to make an entire video out of it. So I decided against it. But we are going to talk about her. I'm definitely so proud. She was given the award for Artist of the Decade, which is like, that's so prestigious. I mean, you hear about Artist of the Year, but you never hear about Artist of the Decade, and I totally think she deserved that title, 100%. She defined like an entire generation of youth, I feel like. And I feel like a lot of us, especially girls, we all have a little bit of Lana in us, I feel. But as far as the outfit that she wore to accept her award, she's literally wearing like a cheap Shein dress, which I do not advocate for Shein at all. I wish that entire business would burn to the ground. But she said she got this like $18 or something Shein dress, and the guy that you just had sex with's jacket over top and Shoot's boots. That is the funniest, that is the most perfect way to describe it, because that's exactly what she was going for. I loved that outfit. It's very Lana, it's very trashy, it's very trash chic. I thought that outfit was absolutely genius. And it's very her, you know, like she can literally do just whatever she wants. It's obvious. She doesn't care what she wears. She doesn't need money. You know, she's a Tumblr girl at heart, all this. I look so scary. Why do I do this in the camera, in front of the camera, make myself look like this? Jesus! What's happening? Oh, I better hope this turns out good. Maybe I get like a weird subconscious kick out of doing this in front of the camera. Anyway, in addition to that, I have just, went through my Spotify Wrapped a few days ago, and I'll tell you, my music taste has drastically changed, I think, over the past, or maybe not changed, but it has been, I think I've narrowed down what I really like in music. And that became obvious to me when I looked at my Wrapped, and they said that my number one genre was down-tempo, which I was not expecting that at all, because I had no clue what down-tempo was. I really didn't know how to describe my music taste whatsoever. And there it was at number one. And so down-tempo is, when you look at it, a pretty goddamn broad genre of music. Portishead is down-tempo, but so is Bonobo. I don't know how you can put those two artists together. They could not be more different. A lot of what I listen to is classified as electronica, but you'll see them in a down-tempo playlist. So that's the kind of music apparently that I'm into. But as far as music that I've been listening to, I have really just sunk my roots back into trip hop and acid jazz, I think you can call it that. And I have been listening to DJ Krush and DJ Cam on repeat these past couple of weeks. I've been listening to the Krush album by DJ Krush, and then the other album is Milight, and then for DJ Cam it's Underground Vibes and Abstract Manifesto. Every single one of those albums is an absolute masterpiece, perfectly done. They were released in the 90s, and their kind of music really pretty much defined, they worked with a lot of hip hop samples and R&B samples. So their music and their beats, both of them are also producers, pretty much defined the kind of music you heard in the 90s in movies and on the radio and in like underground and stuff. They had both of those DJs. One is French. DJ Cam is French, and then DJ Krush is Japanese. But they are both artistic geniuses. I love the grittiness of their work so much. And what's really interesting too is, I don't know if anybody else has been finding these videos on YouTube lately, but there's this influx of old footage from anywhere from the 60s to like the 1800s, the late 1800s. Some of them are like in color and stuff. But I happened upon this footage from the Bronx in New York in the 80s. Man, if you know, you know. I was reading through the comments, and like, it was really interesting to see people talk about like living there whenever they were a kid and like what it was like seeing fires. Like there was up to like 35 fires a day, I think, reported. So there's probably more every day, because they were burning down buildings there in Harlem and in the Bronx so that the landlords could collect insurance money. It was just like, when you see like just the piles of rubble and these like skeletons of these really well-built buildings, it's just crazy. Because if you listen to the music, especially in the hip-hop genre that came out in the 90s, you can just feel the grittiness. You can feel the environment, like based on the production and the sound of the songs and the beats and stuff. You can feel the grittiness of what it was like to grow up in an environment like that. And there's, I was reading the comments, and they recommended this documentary that's called Decade of Fire, which talks about the fires in the Bronx and like just what New York was like in the 80s before like this huge like financial boom. And like, you can just, it's just amazing to be able to hear like an environment, like the atmosphere in the music that came out in the 90s. It's pretty insane. And you can thank producers like DJ Cam and DJ Krush for that. In Milight, actually, every other song, there's like a very, very short interlude with different rappers. They all talk about, you know, how they see the future and like what society is like, how they feel things have changed and stuff. There's like, each of them, it's like a minute and a half or something of like different rappers talking in between the songs. So that's really cool. That's on Milight for DJ Krush if you ever wanted to look into it. But great musicians. Those are the people that I've been listening to on repeat, nonstop, can't stop. That and like late night Alumni. If you guys are like OG fans of Michelle Phan, like used to watch her makeup videos, she used to, before she got into some legal trouble with it, she used to play late night Alumni in the background of all of her YouTube videos. And that's really where I fell in love with some of that music. I've been listening to their albums, like Haunted I've been listening to, and like their really, really popular album, is it Empty Streets? Yeah, I've been listening to Empty Streets, which is also like, it's one of my favorite albums ever. So I've been listening to them too, late night Alumni. Next on the list of things that I've been up to is movies. And the movies that I'm going to mention, I've watched like some time ago, whenever I was in kind of like a darker stage in my life. I think I and a lot of other people just like to use movies as a way to escape and to envision a world that's more preferable than the one we currently live in. And so at the time, this was about like 6 months ago, I was really interested in Greg Araki's films. And I was watching, the most famous one of his is Doom Generation with Rose McGowan. That's a fantastic one. But then I started to watch like Mysterious Skin, which is a really sad film. I'm not even going to talk about the plot of it because you just have to watch it. It's definitely not YouTube appropriate. And then Nowhere, which is this great just existential like queer kid film. Just like the title really gives it away. It just kind of gives you this feeling of, oh, apocalypse. I think Nowhere and Doom Generation are 2 of 3 films, like a trilogy from Greg Araki that's called the like Teenage Apocalypse or something like that. Those films are fantastic. They're wonderful. Like if you're feeling lost, just watch those films and they just kind of like make you feel like being lost is feeling lost and being anxious about it is just, you can use that as material for something. It doesn't make you feel so alone, I think. Especially since all the characters are really young and their feelings are relatable to an extent. So, okay, so I blended this out, I think, to an extent where I don't look so scary anymore. Something that I have watched very recently is, again, for the second time, is Closer with Natalie Portman. Julia Roberts is in it as well. That film, when I watched it the first time, it was a few years ago, and I did not really see how genius that film is until I watched it yesterday for the second time. And I was just sitting in awe at just how convoluted that film is. If you haven't watched the movie, it's about like 4 strangers' lives intertwining together, and all of them have sexual relationships with one another, like it's 2 couples. And they all are cheating on one another, and like there's this constant theme of like truth and lies and like strangers and people you know, and it's just so embedded into every interaction, into the dialogue, like down to like the words that they say all the time, like how they talk to one another, if they're lying, if they're telling the truth, if they believe the things that they say, if truth is like it's this big, it just bends your mind really, this film, like because you start to like really question whether or not the truth is even helpful after a certain point or for certain people, which is dangerous. And I think that like the melancholy in that film kind of highlights that. It's sad too. I like sad films. Can anybody else say that they also like sad films too? Because being sad by choice is kind of awesome. Something I do need to do right now, this is like the dark spot from Pirates of the Caribbean. Line my eyes. I have another little mirror here. Okay, I think I've decided what I'd like to do. So I have these excellent little jewel strips, and I'm going to use them for my eyebrows. I think that'll be cool. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of gloss on top of this black here, and then just do like a kind of nude lip. We're gonna use my favorite lipstick as of right now, which is Cherish. Going to apply that later. I am going to put a little bit of mascara on. Now we're gonna put some gloss, because you know I love gloss. I can't help myself. I think I have to put gloss on for like every look. This stuff is so gross, honestly. Oh yeah, good stuff. Ooh, who doesn't love a black gloss? Oh my goodness. Yes. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Damn, this looks good. Woo! I hope this looks good on camera, because it looks so good in person. Wow. Maybe just a little bit down here. You know I love to look like I've just been crying. You know I like to look that way. Gonna put on this nice little nude. And then you can put on the eyebrows. So last thing I'm gonna talk about is art. And I'm gonna talk about some artists that I'm very envious of. Artists that I hope go very, very far with their careers if they have not already. So the first one I want to talk about is David Rapinoe. He is a French artist. He's the best French artist you probably never heard of. I found him through Tumblr. He was super popular on there. And I absolutely fell in love with his work. And he pretty much catapulted me into taking artwork a little bit more seriously and expanding on my skills a little bit more, because he was very, very into perspective, like warped perspective. And I pretty much copied his style for a long time because I wanted to learn like how he drew and how he did his drawings, and he totally, like, I take so much inspiration from him even till this day, and it's been probably like 8 years since I first found him. He's really, the best way to describe his stylistic kind of drawing is mannerist. And mannerism was an art movement in Italy, in Europe, in the Renaissance. And it's just characterized by like exaggerated form, exaggerated like gesture, and exaggerated form like of the body. And that's very much what he does, but he takes it to a whole other level. A lot of his work is like cityscape, like it's usually like 1 or 2 people. It's he draws people, and like they're usually like smoking a cigarette, and it's usually some kind of urban background. That's very much like what all of his work is. But he's such a huge inspiration to me when it comes to just like the gesture of his artwork and his figures. He's my main man, and you can actually go and find him. He changes his name on Instagram frequently. It used to be Prince Diamond, but I think now it's just China shipping containers or something like that. He's a total troll too, so if you're not into that, then you probably shouldn't follow him. Another artist that I have been really, you know, kind of obsessed with, and the only artist I really care about in the contemporary art scene is Nina Chanel Abney. Her artwork is absolutely genius. Very bright colors. She uses stencils. All of her work is it's very like clean and vivid and bright, and but at the same time like very jumbled, and there's a lot of stimulation going on, I guess. And there's a lot going on in all of her paintings, and they're all, I believe, mixed media. And like all of like, she uses like a lot of symbols and stencils and stuff, and you want to like pull some kind of like meaning from the icons that she uses, but she's said in interviews that they don't really mean anything on their own, that they're kind of just, they're subject to interpretation based on the context of whatever they're around, and that they kind of lose their meaning. So and that they're kind of random, that she uses them at random, which I think makes them cooler for that reason, that even though they're well-known shapes or symbols, like let's say a dollar sign or a coin sign, they completely lose their meaning, and they just kind of become like motifs in her work, which is so cool. And the way that she uses them to like create like contours in the body and stuff. It's really, really fascinating, her work. I wish I could have a painting of hers in my lifetime. That would be amazing. And she also has, you know, political commentary, social commentary and stuff in her work. She's wonderful. For years, I've been following a group called Broken Fingers. It's a group of, I believe, 3 or 4 guys. I think I follow them all now on social media, but I'm not sure. And they are very famous for their murals in like Israel and Madrid, I believe, Tel Aviv, Haifa. They're known for their murals. They're known for their screen prints. They do a lot of like limited edition screen prints, everything. It's again very like clean lines. I love just like how saturated the colors are, and like there's just this great mixture of because they've traveled to so many countries, there's really great mixture of cultures in their work, and they're just like the graphic, it's very graphic design-esque, the way that but mixed with fine art, which I love about them. But yeah, a lot of their works, like you'll see like murals from them will be like deep in the middle of like a rainforest. It's really, really cool. The last artist that we're gonna talk about, and the last thing I'm gonna even say in this video, because it's getting a little bit long, and we need to put on the eyebrows, that's right. I'm gonna take one of these and break it in half. Okay, we have 2 of the same size, these guys. And I'm gonna use the duo glue for lashes. The last artist she is a tattoo artist as well as an actual artist, and she's very lucky. She gets to tattoo like her actual art onto people, which is super cool if you're like at that stage in your career as a tattoo artist. I feel like you've won the game if you get to do that. But her Instagram handle is Spanish. Her Instagram handle is Fear of Emptiness, which translates, which is the actual thing, is Miedo al Vacío, which is gorgeous. And her work has inspired me for what I'm doing now. I haven't shown anything on my Instagram yet because I'm not ready, but I have 3 pieces so far, and she has seriously been a huge inspiration for me with her line work, her shading work. She works a lot, like she does a lot of that, and like because she's a tattoo artist, and she has a lot of like fetish influences in her work, like chrome and leather and chains and spurs are all like motifs in what she does, but she is so talented. All right, I think it's time to put one of these on. And I'm gonna look really funny because I'm only gonna have one on. And we're gonna do just like a, ooh, kind of cool. But yeah, super jealous of her. I think she's awesome, and she's really like I think her techniques have propelled me forward in my work now. Like she's my new inspiration, and David Rapinoe is my old inspiration. The only thing that I still get from David is like the use of figures, like usually using 2 figures in a piece, like an interaction between 2 people. That seems to be his go-to subject matter, and it is mine as well. I love just using 2 people and an interaction between them as artwork. So that's the only little like vestige left, I think, of him for me. But she's like the artist that propelled me into a new chapter in my life, I think. That's a look. Whoa. Interesting. I'll just top this off with a little flush. Ooh. That was interesting, guys, huh? This end? I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. We had fun with our makeup today. Thank you guys so much for letting me just sit in front of the camera for a while and just talk about things that I'm interested in. Hopefully I inspire you guys to maybe listen to the music I suggested, or watch the movies that I talked about, or look up the artists that I was talking about, because they're all phenomenal. They're all worth taking a gander at. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like. Please subscribe if you have not already. Write your heart out in a comment. Oh, hit the bell for notifications too. That's about it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.